We're live. We're live. Hi, everybody. Christine here. We are, excuse me, lunch breaks. We've got a lunch break for you. Hi. Oh, my goodness. So many awesome friends. Really excited to bring to you different collaborators from these awesome projects that we're building. And yeah, it's just an extraordinary time for the company, and I am so excited for you guys to meet our next collaborator. Please welcome. Oh, boom, 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 boom. Drum rolls going a little longer. Yes, Quinn. This is Quinn Wharton, everybody. He is an extraordinary human being, and we've had the privilege and honor of working with him recently. Can you imagine? Are people working? Quinn, are you busy?
Surprisingly, in as safe and healthy of a way as we can make it, yes, very busy.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This is our lunch break and a chance to get to know some of the beautiful artists that we're working with. So, Quinn, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your story?
Really simple, very straightforward. I was born in Seattle. I was raised in Hawaii. I went to North Carolina School of the Arts for high school for ballet. I joined San Francisco Ballet and danced there for 8 years. I then joined Hubbard Street and danced there for 2 years. And then I started freelancing after that, working both for the choreographer Yuri Posakov, helping to create and set work, and then also photographing, filming, and choreographing myself full time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when did you venture into film? And that's why we're talking with you today, because you are working on one of our first ever big feature films that we started building this summer in May with Penny Saunders. But what brought you to photography and film, and tell us about that journey.
Totally. So I always liked technology. So that was the initial genesis of it. Being in San Francisco in 2005 and 2006 was a good place to be then. I was injured in 2008. I was off for a while. I had an injury early in my career, and I didn't really know what I was going to do. So I picked up a few things. I tried to learn how to play the guitar. I tried to teach myself how to cook, and took photos of friends. And the photos one sort of stuck, and it seemed like a good weekend activity to be safe, give my body a chance to rest, and still be making something. And in that,
We got a little freeze. I know he's going to unfreeze. In the meantime, I'm going to wave at you guys. Waiting. Waiting. Quinn, we're frozen. All right, he's going to join back in. This happens. Instagram Live. We lose people. There you go.
sorry, that was the strangest thing my phone has ever done. It actually completely shut off.
Oh, no.
Weird. My battery's fine. Very odd. Sorry, y'all. Technical difficulties. Yes, one of my friends early on in taking photographs was working for a small startup in San Francisco that I ended up doing interior photos for and some founder headshots and learning a lot. And that company did quite well. And so it just sort of went from there. Just
That's fantastic.
kept getting work, kept getting requests. And so I kept making stuff.
Do you think there is an advantage, having been a dancer and understanding space and bodies and movement? Do you think that's an advantage for you? And can it help and inform your work?
Definitely. I think there's two aspects to that, very specifically in filming dance, of course. You know when a move is done right, you know when the angle is right, you know how to augment for somebody's particular body type. You know, some people look better at other angles than other people, how you want to film things, the frame rates you want to film things at, definitely. I think certainly being in the dance world was a visual education in general, right? Like any filmmaker is going to have some sort of visual aesthetic that they prefer.
Yeah.
And mine is very influenced by the work that I saw early on as a child and then in companies that defines that. The ballets that I liked, the lighting that I liked, the costumes that I liked. Essentially, if you think of, you know, the front of a stage being a 2D screen, it's the way you build choreography and imagery is the same as the way you film.
Right.
You just
Right.
can't look at it from angles.
Right. And what are some of those influences in your younger? Sorry, I'm just
No, yeah, by all means.
Yeah. Like what you know inspired you as a dancer that then moved into your work as a filmmaker?
Totally. Dance wise, I mean, it's the big ones. Obviously, it's Forsyth, his lighting style and his aesthetic, the dark, clean sort of look, hugely influential. Wayne McGregor's early work, I love. Early on, probably Wheeldon in there as well. We did a lot of his work in San Francisco. I would say that's up there. Later on, now, more currently, Ohad and Hofesh and Sharon Ayal I like a lot. I think the work has gotten a little bit more organic. My aesthetic has gotten more organic and more natural as I've gotten a bit older. And then filmmaker wise, I mean, so I started in photography. That's where my image making started. And so Annie Leibowitz's lighting style, I emulated a lot. And David LaChapelle's scene building, I guess.
Yeah. You know, this is a little, any women in there? Influential female choreographers? I mean,
Totally.
I know you're working, but those were all men. It's just, I'm trying to push for change in that.
100%.
You know?
Yeah. Oh man, you know,
yeah.
to be fair, and you know, it's something that is an issue with large ballet companies. We didn't do a huge amount. I mean, I love Annabelle Lopez Ochoa's work. She's fantastic. Penny's work is great. Alice Block is great. Maria Kerr is great. Obviously, Crystal Pite. Crystal, definitely an inspiration as well, but her work came later. I wasn't, you know, and a part of that is my age. I was young, and you know, when you're 17 and 18, you're paying attention to like Balanchine and the older generation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Not using that as an excuse, but it was just where I was at the time.
Yeah. And it's not even, that's who you were given. I mean, that's not,
sure.
That's where I'm just mentioning that because I'm trying to push that for what we're doing and how I really want to start supporting more women and definitely a diverse pool of voices.
Of course.
So if we go into Penny, so tell us about this process with Penny, a cowboy film.
Sure. So Penny and I have known each other for a while. We worked together at Hubbard Street. We danced together there. And we initially started working on a film project for Whim Whim in May of this year. And so that was our first foray into film together. So I think a learning process for both of us, me to translate how to look at it to her and for her to think about how to approach her choreography in a different way. She had a very clear idea with this piece, a very clear narrative and a voice to tell the story with. And so I think, you know, we discussed it back and forth a ton. She had choreography already built. She had an idea already present. And so my job was to focus those things down and into a single linear narrative that existed in a 3D physical space as to on stage. And, you know, we have a great working relationship. I really enjoy working with her. She's super sweet. She's super supportive. Yeah, we had a good process. We talked a lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What were some of the unexpected challenges or unexpected challenge and unexpected surprise in this film that you and Penny are working on?
Sure. You know, one of the biggest things always right now is weather. Being able to not shoot inside with large groups of people makes any sort of dance in that respect difficult.
Right.
So as you know, you were there, but we can let everyone else know 30 minutes before our first scouting, it
Yeah.
poured,
Uh,
dumped rain.
yeah.
Which is, I never want to put a dancer in a situation where they're uncomfortable or insecure, and that definitely stressed me out a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
The dancers were troopers. There's always, I think, with anyone who's going to film dancers outside in a space that's not optimal for like ground, like a level playing field, essentially, a level field.
Mm-hmm.
So the dancers need time to adjust to that. They need time to modify movement. The choreography needs to adapt to that a little bit, here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Penny is great in that she trusts me enough to be able to make small adjustments to the choreography where need be. If someone's sliding along the ground, they can't really do that on gravel.
Right.
So we got to figure out a good solution to that. So there are definitely challenges there. I think overall we got quite lucky with the spaces that we got. There's a bit of like, you search for optimal, you deal with what you have.
Yep.
And so the spaces we got were really beautiful. Very fortunately, you've got some great locations near Philly there. And we had a great pre-scouting bit of work done by you guys, which thank you so much. Yeah, those are the biggest challenges, just making sure that everyone feels good on set and can really give what they can.
Right.
Yeah.
And what was a good surprise that was like, oh, this is better than I thought it could be? Or
Yeah, I really think there were some great surprises the first day, but I think the last day of filming in front of that church, I don't know, it just felt really good. It felt like everyone was more comfortable. We all knew each other a little bit better. The weather participated a little bit more. That one felt really great. There was a really nice sort of flow to it. Didn't feel super stressful. It was just like a wonderful environment to be going in. So, yeah.
Have you ever filmed dancers on a horse before?
No, that is definitely a first. Yeah, those guys were fantastic.
They were great. Yeah,
They
that
were
was
so great.
so much fun.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we're all staying really open and we understand the challenging circumstances. So I think everybody just wants to figure out how to make this work. And so, you're going to be moving into the editing process, and you're really now taking everything that you filmed and putting into this beautiful story. The music's composed, which is helpful, I would imagine. Would you go back to the composer, Michael Wall, and say, hey, can you change this or lengthen that?
Most definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a beautiful flexibility there in that you can, because, pacing for a piece is always different when you get it in post. Decide you need a little bit more of a beat here, less of a beat there, depending. So there's already some changes we're talking about to just tighten things up a little bit here and there, or to match things that happen on screen with things that happen in the music so that they're synced really perfectly, which is a really nice flexibility and not one you get all the time. Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I'll do a pass through and get all the good dancing bits. So make sure that everybody looks as good as they possibly can, that it was like the right run for that moment.
Right.
And then start to finesse the transitions and how it goes from one scene to the next. And then we get an initial edit done, and then you start to parse down from there and trim up and clean, affect color, credits, all that other stuff that goes along with it.
Right. So this is like a bonus plus. It's gonna premiere on our BalletX Beyond, which is a new virtual subscription series.
This is fantastic.
Our challenging circumstances and not wanting or willing to stop working. And I think what's really positive about it is that we're getting to new collaborators like yourself. We're getting to understand our work in a new way. Like, how does it transform, or, how is it experienced through the screen? How can we penetrate it as much as we can? When we're not having a human exchange, like a one-to-one in the theater. So that's where I think your skill comes in, right? You're really going to try to find those moments that like give us goosebumps. Can we get goosebumps and we certainly can. I mean, I watch silly TV shows and I get stinking goosebumps, but maybe I'm just a goofball.
No, I think
There,
you 100% can.
yeah, yeah, I totally agree. My son, oddly enough, is in this, and you did such a great job working with Warren. And what does my 12-year-old son represent?
Sorry, 1 second.
Yeah, I was a little. It's me too.
There we go.
Yeah, stay
I
with
apologize. You can see me all right?
Yeah,
Oh, man.
I
All
know, me too.
right. It was fantastic.
Thanks.
He was
He
such a
learned a whole
trooper.
dance.
He learned a whole dance. He was game for anything. Yeah, he was fantastic. It was really wonderful to have him on set and to have him to be able to contribute in that way. And I think really, most importantly, aided the narrative of what Penny
Yeah,
is trying to say.
yeah,
You don't want to add anything for no reason.
right. You don't want an extra kid in there, but he's really the cowboy at the beginning, the reflection, the future. Yeah. Well,
Yes.
right? Something like that.
We'll see. Well, there are. I think with any sort of dance, there is leeway in the audience to perceive things how they will and take their own impressions from it. And I think in the edit, we will have to make some decisions about exactly what he represents
Yeah.
in relation to the other things that are happening and how it's chopped together.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, Quinn, thank you for being a part of our story and our work. And I look forward to featuring your beautiful film. Lots of love.
Absolute pleasure working with you guys.
Awesome. Take care. Thank you.
Take
Thanks,
care of yourself as
everybody.
well.